Hi everyone, I'm Vic.
I'm Nick.
And we're MV Board Gaming, and today we're looking at Now or Never. This is a 1 to 4 player game. It is designed by Ryan Lockett and published by Red Raven Games. Nick is going to go through how you play, and then we're going to give our reviews.
Now or Never is a competitive strategy game. You and up to 3 friends compete to best rebuild your ancestral village and guide the rest of the villagers on their journey home. Although the creatures of the meteorite have lost much of their strength, many of them remain, and you must fight them off to protect traveling villagers. Now or Never is the third game in the Arzarium storybook series that includes Above and Below and Near and Far. Let's take a look at how to play. So let's just give you a gist of your options here in Now or Never. Some actions you can do. You can do either hero actions or specialist actions. Your heroes are what's on the main board. So let's go over the heroes action first. First thing you have to do is you have to move. Your movement is on your player board right here. You can choose, and every character is different, but this one is 2, 3, or 4. If I want to move 2, I just slide that over to show that I've used that 2 movement, and I move 2. You take damage if you pass through mountains and if you pass through enemies. So the first thing you have to do is move. Then wherever you land, optionally, you can play a quest card if you have a quest for the specific location. In this case, I landed on Nomad Camp. If I have a quest that says Nomad Camp, I can do that quest if I have the resources needed. Let's take a look at a quest card. This quest is for Ablo Tower, which is right here. If I were to do a quest there, I would have to spend 1 book. Sorry, let me get that on the screen. 1 book. Ablo Tower is right here where it says just the anatomy. These are the victory points I will have at the end of the game if I accomplish this quest. And there is nothing else that I need as far as prerequisites. All I need is to be at Ablo Tower and spend 1 book resource. Then I can put this away and I'll get 3 points at the end of the game. That is doing a quest. I can only do 1 quest per turn. But that does not make up my turn. That is an optional thing I can do on my turn. So I've moved, I've done a quest, and now I can either visit a location, I can search the location, or I can fight an enemy. That will depend on what's at the location. In this case, Ablo Tower, right here, is a location in which I can go ahead and do the action of the location. So I can visit this location, spend a heart to get a tool. I do not have a search token on here. If I were to have a search token, they look like this. They'll be on the letters of the board, so there should be some out here. And you can do a search location at these. If you're playing the story mode, you will discount whatever is on here. You do not care about that in the story mode. If you're playing a standard mode, you actually do care. You will receive this reward. Sometimes it'll say to discard the token. If it doesn't, then you will actually keep this and it'll be 1 income per round. You also will have to roll a die and see how much damage you take. You have a 4 die right here, 1 through 4 value. So that is searching a location. If you're going to fight an enemy at a location, you can see there's enemies out here. This will show, first it'll show what level they are. This is a level 2 enemy. This is how much health they have, how much damage they do every single round of combat, and your reward if you defeat this enemy. In this case, you gain a villager and you gain an experience. So the way that works is I will roll this dice. And let's take a blank one right here. I rolled a 2. Now that doesn't mean I hit them 2. It means that I have the ability listed here. And you can improve these abilities. But Halia, her ability on 2 is 2 damage. Nothing else happens. There is nothing else. They get 2 damage. So I'd put them at 6 health. And they're going to hit you 3. Sometimes you'll have shield bonuses that will prevent a certain amount of damage, but you can see she doesn't have any of that. She can acquire things that will give her shields if she were to do that. She has some base ones that she starts with, but she does have to acquire these. This is the experience cost, and these are anytime actions that we'll get into soon. But as it stands, she does 2 damage to this enemy, and the enemy strikes back with 3 damage. All right, so those are your hero actions. So let's take a look at some specialist actions. Okay, let's take a look at Zeke right here, who has specialist all ready to start the game. Everyone has 2. They have 1 that increases their health and gives them an item, and 1 that lets you build. Let's take a look at one of these. In order to use a specialist, you'll have to go ahead and spend this cost, but your opponent can also use a specialist. If they do, they can use their own, or they can use their opponent, and they can spend this cost as well to exhaust them. And you, if any of your specialists are used, you will gain this amount, this smaller amount right here. When this is used, regardless if it was used by you or your opponent, it will exhaust after they get the bonuses. So let's say I used it. I will spend 6 coins to the bank, and I will go ahead and refresh my health, and I'll gain a tool resource. Here, I am already full health. Zeke can have 13 health, but if I were down here, I wouldn't just gain a heart, it goes all the way to the top, so I would gain all that back. And then they're exhausted. Alternatively, if you did not do that this round, you can gain 2 hearts or a coin. So this wouldn't cost anything. You would just say, I'm going to gain 2 hearts, or I'm going to gain 1 coin, and flip them, exhaust them. This specialist allows you to build. It doesn't give you a bonus beyond building, but you can also acquire these out here. Since it's on the screen, let's go over that. So if I were going to do this, I would spend 5 and do a build ability, which we'll talk about shortly. Alternatively, I can get more specialists that allow me to do the actions multiple times around. To do that, if I want to do this one, which allows me to build, it also gives me a bonus of +3 heart. I would go ahead and spend 4 times 2. So whatever the top number is, times 2 when you don't actually have this specialist in your crew. So 8 coins just to do a build action and a +3, but they stay with you. They are exhaust when you use them though, which is right now, because you're using them right now. You're acquiring them for 8 and using this ability right now. So they will do a build ability and a +3. Another type of action, let's see. Here's another one just for an example. This will give you gear. That was some of the things I talked about where you can cover these up and get better results for these dice in combat. And there's red and there's blue, and we'll go over those soon. But this one's very cheap, so it will cost me 2 coins to acquire, but whenever I want to use them again, it only costs 1 coin, and I can do that gear action. Okay, so there are some other ones out there that aren't just build and replenish your health, but those are the main 2. Now let's go over what ability entails. All right, so we're looking at a player board right here. Building. So you, at the very first time you build, you're gonna have to take from the outer edge of this building. You build a 5x4, and you have to take one of these. You pay the cost listed at the bottom right, in this case right here, 3 coins. You'll gain this benefit at production. If it has this lighter grayish blue at the bottom left, that is a production result. So you'll gain 5 every production of health in this case. Once you take this, you're going to put it on your board. Your first placement has to be over here at the bottom left, and you'll gain the reward shown, or sometimes it's actually a cost. You're going to put it there, so I'll gain a shell. I'll put it there after I spend my 3 plus the cost of building, and I'll gain that shell, which is a resource. All resources are tracked at the bottom of your town board here. And there you go. From here on out, you can build out adjacent, and from here you also build adjacent from every empty spot as opposed to the outer edge. Now you're just going to build out adjacent. So you have 2 choices. You can build this or this. You cannot build other things out there unless a ability gives you that right. But that's building. So another thing about building is that when you fill out some of these rows, you're going to see that you get victory points if you actually fill those out. You also, like I said, you get rewards when you cover, but if you were to have different villagers, this is where you put your villagers, you see. So if you were to have all different types of villagers, you're going to get points based on that too. And what I mean by different types of villagers is that villagers give you different rewards when they produce. So if you were to catch, if you were to have 4 villagers in a row, you're going to get this amount of victory points. So that is how you build. I'm going to go over now a little bit and show you some of the villagers, and I'm going to show you some of these actions on your other board that will improve your combat and such. So sometimes you have the ability to gain villagers, and these are the villagers. They're the small little tokens right here. They're going to sit on that villager board that I showed you, and they're going to produce. If they have a spot if they have a building, for every building you have in a row, they have 1 spot for a villager. Some have beds on them, and I'll show you that right now. Some of them have a picture of a bed on them, or even multiple beds. Here's one that has a bed. That will give you a +1 spot in that row for each villager. So when you acquire these villagers, you just put them at the end of the building row where you want them to sleep, and they're going to produce at every production. Also on this board, we have a few other things. We have what I mentioned about covering up those spots on your player board to give you better combat. So you can pick one of those spots and have a better combat result. This would be 6 damage, plus if you want to spend a mana, which is a blue resource at the bottom of your player board, looks like this. You can spend a mana, and you can get 3 more damage on top of that. So you're going to put that for one of the dice result, 1 through 4, whichever one you desire. There's also blue ones that have some things. In this case, these are defensive. Also on this board, you have Market, which is anytime action, and you have a round tracker, 1 through 6. The game is played in 6 rounds. And in this case, we have a story mode, so you can see that there is a prestige on here. The difference in the story mode is this side of the board versus the other side of the board, which does not have this prestige mark right here. So in a story mode, you'll get a bonus of 3 points if you have the most prestige in the game, plus you'll have some pre-marked positives and negatives for your reputation. So this is your reputation in a story mode. What doesn't change is that you have Market right here. You can spend these resources from your board, move down the right tracks, and then go ahead and earn those points. Again, this is anytime action. If you don't have these combinations right here, you can just do one resource at a time, getting the coins here. All right, that explains this board. Let's take you back. All right, now let's take a look at your anytime actions. Here you can see what I told you already. You can sell coins for goods. Like I said, that's an anytime action. Also down here, you can place your villager in housing. Sometimes you acquire villagers before you have the houses for them. Well, you can do for any time, you can go ahead and place one of those villagers when you acquire a place for them to stay and move them to your board. Here, you can spend experience on a hero ability. So right here, you have these hero abilities. Those are also used to cover up these spots at your board if you did not purchase the gear up there. So you can go ahead and spend experience tokens to do that anytime. You can complete an order. Orders are here at the Tower of Miners. So the Tower of Miners, you're allowed to pick. This is just an action at a spot. So you're visiting the Tower of Miners. You can pick between 2 of these orders, and they just give you a better payout. Not only that, but they give you prestige at the end of the game, victory points. So this is just a way better payout for 4 crystals. Normally 4 crystals is worth 13 if you were to do that. So it'd be 11 plus 2 because you can pay in a set of 3. Well, this gives you, not only does it give you a better payout, but it also rewards you in victory points. So you can do these at any time to get that reward. And these are all, whenever you see these, that's end game. You don't care about it right away. There's no place to mark it where you get victory points. Care about the end game, so that'll be part of your tally. And just discard the other one. Lastly, you can pay 2 experience to refill all villager spots. Well, if you needed villagers that did not produce, that don't produce, that when you see villagers that are producing things that you don't really care about, well, you can go ahead and spend 2 experience to replenish that row or just clear out what's already there and get new villagers to maybe get what you would like. So those are your anytime actions. And the last thing I'm going to explain is production. So we have another card right here that goes through productions. You're going to collect produce goods. Well, buildings do that, and as well as villagers, they produce goods. You're going to collect a coin per search token. You're going to do that in the story mode or in the standard version. Unhoused villagers, it reminds you, do not produce. They're not with you. They're not producing. You're going to refresh the mana that you spent, those blue things I showed you. You're going to reset hero action tokens, which is this right here. So these would all, when your round's done, typically all these will be used, and you just move them back. You're going to flip the specialist face up. These are going to be replenished. You can see I use this one. I'm going to go ahead and replenish that one. Move the season marker because that's the round marker, and then you go ahead and start another round. You're going to play 6 rounds of this. Whoever has the most victory points based on a lot of conditions, based on the buildings in the row, everything that marked prestige, your reputation in the story mode, your quests, and so on. Whoever has the most prestige is going to win the game, and that's how you play.
All right, thank you so much for going through how you play the game.
Absolutely.
I have to ask, what were your initial thoughts when you saw this game, when you first took it out of the box? What was the first thing that you thought when you were going through the rule book and setting it up?
You can tell right from the initial opening that it's a Ryan Lochte game because everything you recognize the characters, the art, all that world. We've played a lot of his games. We reviewed Near and Far. Is the one we reviewed. No, we reviewed Isle. No, I don't think we reviewed it.
No,
I don't think we reviewed
we have
Islebound.
not reviewed Islebound.
So we've played Islebound, Near and Far. We played Artifacts Incorporated. Those are the ones that spring to my mind. We haven't played Above and Below or Sleeping Gods. And it has that appearance already. So I really like that appearance a lot. I
Yeah.
think his art's awesome. We even have a playmat that we had from Game Toppers that is a Ryan Lochte design
Yeah.
or inspired by him at the minimum. I'm not sure if he actually designed it. So I like that. That appealed to me. This was on a list of games that are most anticipated for us. It was on that list because of Ryan Lochte. There's just the designer himself. So initial impressions are positive. I like the pieces. I like the thick cardboard pieces. Nothing in this game is chintzy. We did upgrade the coins. However, if you were to back it early, or not back it, but if you were to pre-order it, you would have got those for free. Some upgraded metal coins. We didn't do that, so we just got the standard cardboard coins, and we replaced those with just metal coins that we use.
Yeah.
But that's the only downfall as far as components is having those basic. To me, that's it. Those basic coins were the only thing. It would be nice. Maybe the experience tokens maybe could be nice and like shinier or something, but they're just cardboard.
Yeah, or for the boards to be recessed. That's the only thing I would knock, because sometimes the way that you're
heart.
or how you're tracking your inventory of the stuff you got, you would hate to knock it over.
That's it.
And then, oh my gosh, trying to find it. Oh, how many tools did I have? And it didn't happen to us, luckily, but it's an easy thing that could happen to somebody.
Sure.
I just like recessed boards. I'm a bit spoiled by some of the quality of components and games that we've played here. So, obviously we always have to go whenever we can. We'll throw in our own coins. But aside from that, I agree with Nick about the production of everything. It's nice to have those heavy tiles, so much variety of different characters and different villagers that you can get to that all come out kind of at random. So I knew right away that there would be a lot of obviously replayability in the game when it comes to the different ways that you can choose to go. When we first played, my initial impression from the first play was that, wow, there's a lot of different avenues and methods to get points here, and I haven't figured out the right ones yet because I keep getting absolutely smoked. But still, I think it's enjoyable, the experience of it. What did you think about the initial gameplay of it all?
I like the idea of quests. I like going to spots and fulfilling quests like that. So it's nice that you can just go there and it's not just your action. You can still have your action and you can do the quest.
Yeah.
I like that. It doesn't take up an action. It's an optional thing, and it gives you a bonus. If you want to do it, you can do it. If you have the items, it gives you just another choice. Another thing to go for is go for quest cards. You get another choice. That's awesome. I like games that are full of choices. This one is full of choices, full of ways to go in your game. The standard play was fun, and the story was fun. So I enjoyed my time with this game. A lot of positives. A lot of the options. I like all the options. I said there's a lot of them. I like them all. I'm trying to think of a weakness as far as options that I have that are kind of boring. Combat is, it's okay. It's hard to track. Maybe some of the things like, okay, I'm keeping track. He has 8 total now.
Yeah,
there's no
with
like
fingers.
hit markers or anything like that. You can incorporate it with your own stuff, your own ideas, dice or whatever it might be, dials that you have from other games, just to track their hit markers.
Yeah.
That's a little finicky. Trying to track theirs, and sometimes you have shields that you have to account for on yours, and there's just different things. You do have some upkeep as far as battling, but the system is straightforward. It's just keeping track of the hit points that is a little tricky. So far, we've done a couple chapters, and we've played through the standard mode several times. So I'm enjoying what we're doing. I don't have, as far as other positives, I just think it's a well-rounded game. I don't find a lot to nitpick against it. Do you have? Well, start with positives, and maybe I didn't touch on.
Yeah. Well, I would say one more thing I would say for the gameplay. I had thought of it while you were talking, and I wanted to say it so bad, and I was waiting for you to stop.
Yeah.
And now I'm...
Now it blanks. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, now I'm blanked out.
So these, there's different things you can even augment with the combat. You can acquire these out there. You can acquire them, or every player has their own, which is pretty cool. You just stuff everything in a bag, and it's nice to have things sorted per character.
Yeah.
And just toss them in a bag, and they have all their stuff. And I think that's really nice. Did you think of?
Yeah, so what I thought is, if you know us and you watch our channel, you know that games that have stories don't really captivate us because of the story that goes on. We don't really immerse ourselves in the worlds or feel like we're being taken away, or we really enjoy the story. We find it to be, most of the time, just stopping us from playing games. But in this case, I had a lot of fun with the story so far, especially your character. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to say anything that happens, but just some quirky little things. And we got a third-party app that plays voice recordings.
Yep, that is an additional charge if you want to do that. But it advertises in the game if you do, so I don't have to advertise for you because it actually comes in the box.
Yeah.
You can download that app and pay for that bonus.
We did, just to try to make it, you know, a little bit better, because sometimes when I'm reading, I zone out, and then I can't even absorb what's happening, or, you know, vice versa. He's reading, and I'm thinking about my next turn. I'm really not listening to the story. So when we could take a second and listen to those funny great voice acting and sound effects on the app, I thought that really helped us bring it to the next level for story appreciation and funny story. I mean, it didn't get complicated and weird. It was just quick little things. Like
that's how I like that. Just get that part over with. I don't want to sit here forever.
Yeah.
Get that part over with. Give me the story and cut to the chase. Don't let me sit here for a half hour. I like that Ryan Lauka's games do that. They have story, but it's snappy. Here's what happened. Here's why it happened. Here's your choice.
Yeah, and making choices is so enjoyable. I always like that, going for bonuses, seeing what you can afford based on how many hearts you have or any mitigating factors. I always like to have an ability to do that. So I think that is all of my positives.
And it's a good thing those stories are short, because the negative is this game's long. This game takes a long time.
2.5.
It took 2.5 hours with setup. But yeah, it took a long time. The setup it does take a while. There's all these monsters you have to put out. There's these different snares. You're gonna have different things change up. Yeah. There's a lot of things to go ahead and put out. I'm not gonna go over every single thing because there's quite a bit that you have to put out. And the box says 45 minutes per player, but that's just not true. And I can tell you that we know the game very well, and it's not 45 minutes per player. It's just not.
And we were going pretty quick. Like I tried to expedite my actions as much as
I'm okay with it saying an hour a player. I'm okay with that at minimum. Mm-hmm. So if it would have said an hour, that's fair. I think that's about accurate. We were probably at 70 minutes a player. And it's hard to gauge because we did have to set up, so maybe it was like 65 minutes per player. And we're playing pretty quick, but the game is just not that quick. It doesn't let it. There are quick actions for sure. You can just use an ability and say, I'm gonna heal, and you could be done. And that's definitely a thing, that actions can be quick, but other actions are not quick. There's combat, there's story. There's building that you have to consider.
Selling stuff.
There's selling stuff, which is an optional action. Yeah. These quests are optional actions. So these turns, they can last. And I'd be interested to see how long it would take for 4 players to play this. And I fear it would take quite a long time.
Yeah.
So also an important note that we've only played 2 players. I'm hesitant to play 4 players, although I do want to.
Yeah.
But really, as far as negatives, that was the key negative I had. Is this game, it's overstaying its welcome just a little bit. As much as I'm enjoying it, it's just here a little too long for what this game is. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that for what this game is, like it's a real light game and breezy. It's just like, all right, I'm ready. I get it. I'm ready to be done with it a little quicker before, maybe 5 rounds is good. 6 rounds, the 4, 5, and 6 round, it just take quite a bit longer. And, the first round is really snappy because you don't have as much to trigger off and whatnot as you'd expect in a lot of games. Mm-hmm. First round goes really quick. Boom, we're done with the first round. But then it starts to, pick up the drag a little bit round by round.
Well, that's why I want 6 more rounds. I want to play it twice as much because I feel like I want to complete my row.
You know how many hours that would take?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do.
That would take probably 6 hours because it takes longer as you progress. Okay.
Yeah.
You love the game.
I
then.
want it double because I want to complete the stuff. I want to listen to more stories, and I want to complete everything I want to do because it's a flaw of mine, but I start off doing one thing and I get a little distracted and then don't really maximize the things I could have done. And it's interesting how you get your building layout in the game. If you get things just not configured right, you have to hit the spot to change it. You got to go visit a spot to change the orientation of those buildings, but you can only build in a certain way, and it can get hard anyway. I feel like I just need more time to complete everything I want to do. So maybe 3 more rounds.
I totally disagree. I totally disagree. In the 6th round, I am totally ready to be done. Like I'm running out of things to do at that
Not
point.
tie.
Yeah, I'm like, I get a quest card or what? Because I'm like, this is what I planned for, I guess. I peaked
Yeah.
out and I'm ready to be done at 6 for sure, if not 5.
Okay, so if you had to pick between this game, Near and Far, or Now or Never, what would you decide if you were going to play either of them?
Yeah, it's gonna be Now or Never.
Now or Never,
Yeah,
same.
which is surprising to me, because we rated that game really high, Near and Far, and this one surpasses it. It just, for me right now, this game surpasses it. I like the options a little bit more, and it's maybe it's just because it's new, but I actually think the placement of workers in this is not really a worker placement game, but moving your workers around or your person around to do these different events is more interesting in this game. You don't hopping back and forth between 2 boards really, and it just, something more rich about this game to me personally. And I know this is a game that's had different opinions. Some people don't like it, some people love it. I am on the side of loving this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel the same way. I wish that before this review, I would have gone and looked at what I scored Near and Far.
Yeah.
Because that was then, this is now, or never. But this Now or Never game, yeah, good one. I know. This Now or Never game, I do like a lot better actually.
A lot better.
A lot better.
Wow.
But now we played so many games since we first started this channel, so it's hard to say. Like I have to take my beginning reviews perhaps with a grain of salt because I'm more sophisticated now.
Or things taper off over time.
Yeah,
which is natural.
Definitely, or the mechanisms grow tiresome. Where the first novel to me, and I go, oh my gosh, you've got the story and you've got the action, worker placement, how neat, and combat. Anyway, this game takes the cake over Near and Far, but not. I would play Near and Far if anyone wanted to. So nothing, against it. I'll give my score now if you want to transition to that. I have an 8.6 on this game. For what it is, I guess you could say that the time it takes, if I had to think about that, it prevents us from playing other games in the night generally. So I see where you're coming from with that, and I also feel one negative I haven't touched on yet, but I wanted to mention with my score, is that sometimes I feel like I can't do stuff and I have to retire early and pass, and I wish I could do more, but that's, I think, a failure of planning. So I don't want to knock the game too much for that, but I give it 8.6.
And a negative is that you really only have those 3 hero movement actions, but the game takes so long you don't want it to have any more than that, really. So it does feel limiting, but it's not. Because
could you imagine you could move 5 times?
Yeah, and it feels like you should be able to, but then it would take too long. It's just like you gotta limit this in some fashion. So I think I score Near and Far either an 8.7 or an 8.9. And right now, if I were to score Near and Far as my feelings right now, having not played it for a while, it's probably around 8.5. I like it a lot. And I don't like this one that much more than that. But I do like it more. So it's an 8.8 for me. Highly recommend this one. This one surprised me because I've heard some negative reviews too. And I'm not used to hearing many negative reviews really for Ryan Lockett games.
Yeah.
And I would get occasional ones. I'm not sure what people were expecting, but I think this one is actually a step up from his previous one, Near and Far. I haven't played Sleeping Gods. It's not the same. It's not the sequel to that or anything. That's a totally separate beast, Sleeping Gods. I would like to play that one as well.
Same.
So I can't speak to which one's better or whatever. I'm sure I would love that one just like I love this one. This one I do recommend, especially at the price point. I think it came in at $50 or so. And if we wanted those upgrades. Say like if you want to recess boards, that's probably why they're able to cut a few corners. But the production didn't suffer to me. This is worth all of $50 to me. This is a lot of gameplay, a lot of replayability, and your sessions they'll be longer. You won't just put it down in an hour. You're going to put it down for maybe 3 hours. If you play with a lot of people, maybe you'll put it down for 4 hours. I'm not really sure about more players, but I do know it will add more, significantly more time to this game. If you're okay with that, I think this is a great experience, and I think both modes serve well, which is awesome because you don't want one weaker than the other. I'm loving the story mode, and I would play it again with the 2 other characters. Absolutely would. See, because it's going to be totally different. We're not going to know anything about the game. And if I were going to play with other players, which is probably what I'd want to do, if they were interested in playing the story, it's only 6 games, 6 long games. Then I would just play the 2 other characters and let them play the characters that we were.
Yeah.
And it'll be fine. It'll be the same experience that they're experiencing the same thing we were, and we're going to be all new characters. I think it's really cool.
Sounds like a plan. I wouldn't mind doing that. Yeah, I think with the time invested, my biggest take from this is I enjoyed all the time I had playing it. And there was never a time for me when I was playing that I thought I could be done with this. I really don't want to do another round. So from that was my experience, and I know that not quite the same. Maybe I lost track of time. I didn't turn around and look at the clock.
I was feeling like in round 6 I was done, so it was pretty much perfect. Like after round 6, anyway, during round 6 I was feeling like I was done, so I was just off by a few more minutes.
Okay, 2 more rounds for me, just 2 now.
Got it.
Come on.
Got it.
All right. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please click the thumbs up, and subscribe to our channel for more great reviews. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.